Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about social media and what we can expect to occur as Twitter and Threads, Facebook, and Meta all kind of vie for position. And we can learn a lot about this if we kind of relate it to Coke and Pepsi. There was a period of time in the 80s in which the cola companies were battling it out. You know, they were really going at each other. It's known as the Cola Wars. And we are now entering a period that is going to be the social media wars. So, how did we get here? Musk bought Twitter. Musk bought Twitter and did not run it in an optimal fashion. Even if you are an Elon Musk fan, you have to acknowledge that. That created an opening. Meta, which owns Facebook and now Threads, they want to fill the gap. They want to take Twitter market share. Okay, I'm going to assume that most people watching this channel are not fans of Musk. And that makes sense. So his mistakes involve elevating less than ideal people whose opinion is not necessarily the best for humanity. They involve trying to alter the creator economy and how the internet functions in relationship to money, ads, and the people who produce the most content that drive people to a website. Make no mistake about it, most people look at social media as a product. It's not. You're the product. When you engage with social media, you are the product. Your eyes are the product. They're selling you advertising. Okay? He wanted to switch to a subscription-based model that if you look at pretty much any site that's ever tried to go that route with it, it doesn't work. Particularly true if it is reliant on content creators who are not being compensated from that website. Okay? This has all led to major issues. And then there's a whole bunch of minor stuff. Now along comes Threads. Threads is the Facebook response to it. Okay, so what have we seen so far? When you go to follow certain people on Threads, you will get a notice that says, hey, this person is known for spreading disinformation. They are going to try to differentiate themselves from Twitter as much as possible by encouraging people to be nice. That's the marketing strategy. And it will probably work, at least in the short term. There are two issues when it comes to Threads. One, large content creators, they have issues with the company as a whole because of things that happened on Facebook. And when those creators built up large pages and stuff like that, only to have Facebook throttle the pages in an attempt to get, it seemed like it was them trying to get the creators to buy ads. That was the perception. I don't know that that was actually what was happening, but that's the way it seemed. So you have that. You also have major issues with the way Facebook ran its algorithm. Like a good example, our Facebook page, we were told that we were not me on Facebook, something that still isn't resolved. And that leads creators to abandon the platform. So they already have a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to this company as a whole. Now you have the philosophical issue that is likely to come into play at some point. Social media is incredibly important to the national conversation in this country. Is it a good idea to have all of social media really in the hands of one person, one company? Because if Threads takes off, that's what's going to happen. So you're probably going to have people that have a philosophical or ideological issue with it. And then you have to remember what the true value for the products, y'all, what that was on Twitter. What differentiated Twitter from other platforms is proximity to power. A normal, average American could tweet directly to their representative, their senator, the president, and maybe even get a response. There was the ability to influence everything from your favorite artist to politicians, because you could have direct contact with them. That's going to be hard to duplicate for another company. Another company is going to have a very hard time doing that because they have to convince those people, those top tier, and we are talking the names you hear on TV news all the time, the people who are covered in celebrity magazines. They have to convince those people to put a lot of effort into their platform, or it's not going to go anywhere, because it won't duplicate the one thing that Twitter has that, for the most part, Musk hasn't messed up. Okay, so going back to the cola wars, everybody defines it as Coke and Pepsi. The reality is there were other cola companies. We just don't think about them much anymore because of the effects of the cola wars. There are other social media platforms. There's quite a few. Mastodon is one that comes up a whole lot. I like Mastodon. The issue with it is, again, it doesn't duplicate Twitter's proximity to power, that one selling point, and it's technical. And I know computer people are like, no, it's not. It is to the average person. The idea of choosing a server, and I know this sounds silly, but the idea of choosing a server for a lot of people is too much. It seems too complicated. And that's something that Mastodon could easily fix if they were profit motivated. And that's the other thing with them. They're not. They certainly don't appear to be. That whole project seems to be very much ideologically driven, which means it's probably like a really good product because they're not in it for the money. At the same time, because of that, their ability to fix the technical side of things is limited, because the easiest way to do that would be, everybody signs up and there's a default server. If you want to use the more advanced features of Mastodon, of the Fediverse, well, then you can just use them from there. But somebody would have to pay for that default server, and that leads to ads, it leads to commercialization, it leads to a whole bunch of things that, from a brief look, I don't think the people behind Mastodon have any interest in. They do not seem to be motivated by pursuit of profit. So you have that as an additional issue. That's going to limit their ability to fight in the social media wars. You have some other ones that seem very geared to certain demographics, whether it be right-wing or left-wing, and they're going to face the issue of not being able to provide that proximity to power, that ability to connect with the celebrities and the politicians and stuff like that. And just having your side on it isn't enough. Truth Social proves that. You on Truth Social, you can reach out to Trump himself. and maybe even get a retweet or whatever they call it. That's not enough. It has to be all of it. And that's the hard part that it's the hard part to duplicate. One side isn't enough. It has to be across the board. Now, Threads probably has the capital behind them to incentivize politicians, large celebrities to come to their platform. They probably do, and they could use a whole bunch of different means to make that happen. But then they still have to overcome the reputation associated with Facebook. And then they have to overcome the philosophical thing of it being one company that pretty much controls everything, which is something that Americans are becoming more aware of, partially due to social media. They're becoming more aware of the risks of that. So I don't know that there is a social media platform right now that is going to replace Twitter. We're going to have to see how Threads really pushes forward and how they handle it. Because the slightest mistake is going to drive people away. And there's a lot of room to make an error on social media because even the slightest error gets amplified. So that's where we're at. As far as me, I still don't know where I'm. I've left Twitter for a while. I have no idea where I'm going yet. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.